Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie and I apologize if there's any background noise. I'm going to try to cut it out, but just if there is, apologize in advance. But welcome to my channel. If you are not new here, you will notice that I do have a new background. I posted a little bit on Instagram about this, but basically me and Matt moved, so I have a new filming area and this is my new background. I'm super excited about it. If you want to see some footage about us moving and me setting up this room, as well as eventually I'll do an apartment tour, you can head on over to my Patreon to check that out. There's a link in the description along with all of my other social media, or you can just go to patreon.com/carnagecandy with 2 Y's if you want to get any of that behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and just get into talking about this film. So today we are talking about Salem's Lot. Now, if you have not seen this film, I am going to get into some spoilers. This film came out in the 70s. I feel like at this point it's okay to talk about spoilers, and I feel like I'm probably the last horror fan on the planet to watch this film. I was basically just scrolling through Shudder, not sponsored, was popped up and they're newly added, and I realized that I hadn't actually seen it before, which is very surprising because if you know me, you know that I love vampires, I love vampire films, so of course I was like, I have to watch this. Now, initially when I first sat down to watch this, I forgot that this film is really long. I have heard of that, but I was a couple minutes in and I looked at the time and was like, oh shit, I forgot this movie's 3 fucking hours long, which we've got a lot of longer horror films coming out the past couple of years, obviously before all this stuff happened, especially the It films, but even those are generally less than 3 hours, so that just felt like it was gonna be really long, but it actually wasn't that bad. And I'm glad that it was a long film. So if you don't know, it is based off of a Stephen King novel by the same name. And I feel like when you have films that are based off novels, especially Stephen King novels, given the fact that those are so long in general, it's good to have a film that's really long. I feel like it really gives you the ability to develop these characters, and especially in this film, also develop the town's backstory, because that's a pretty important part of this film, especially regarding the house that the film's really centered around. And because of that, I really liked it. The characters were likable, you got attached to them, so when things happened to them, it hurt in ways. I liked the ways that they did the vampires. It was pretty simple. They didn't get into it too much, which I liked. There was a lot more mystery behind it. This film is really about them figuring out what's going on and fighting what's going on, and they don't dive too much into researching the monsters. You just know they're vampires and that's it. They still look like the people that have been turned, but they are just straight up monsters at this point, which I really liked. And one of the big focus points that I really liked in this film was the similarity between the Mark and Ben character. Ben is the adult-focused character in this film, where Mark is the child-focused character in this film. They both play a very important part. Ben is what brings us back to Salem Lot, and Mark, they're kind of monster genius. And I liked the dynamic between those two characters. They don't spend a lot of time together, but towards the end of the film, they do. They come together to try and defeat these monsters and save the town. And there's a scene, again a spoiler, scene towards the end of the film where Mark has to watch Ben kill the head of vampire by drilling a stake into him. It's not just a quick stab, he's really having to nail it into him, and you just see Mark's face and kind of that moment of innocence being lost, and this is something that is going to affect him for the rest of his life. And I felt like that moment really reflected a story that Ben tells earlier on in the film about going into that house and finding the body of one of his classmates and how that has affected his life and his writing. And I mean, it's part of him returning to this town and to figure out that house. And I thought that was really awesome parallels. I also, of course, really like the Mark character because, again, he is our kid with the monster knowledge, but they don't harp on that too much. There's a few moments throughout the film where it is really important because it does save his life, but he doesn't really have to go through this whole, like, trying to convince all the adults and he's the only one that can do it, which I don't mind, obviously. I mean, The Lost Boys, I feel good. I know I bring the film up with every vampire film, but I can't help it. But I like the fact that this one didn't do that, and obviously this is an older film, so I guess it's kind of before that trope, but it's just one of the things that I liked. So all in all, I really enjoyed it. I definitely think I can definitely understand the hype behind this film and why it is labeled such a classic. So if you have seen Salem's Lot, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. Do you think that I should check out the sequel if you want me to review that as well? If you did enjoy this, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more horror-related content. And before I go, a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you know the perks to being a Patreon, links are in the description below, along with all of my social media, and I will see you guys again later with another video. Bye!